My GF said, "You don't get to know what happens on this trip, period. That's why I'm blocking you until I get back, so don't annoy me." I didn't react. When she came back, she was smiling, expecting me, but she wasn't ready for who stood there. Instead, Sarah and I had been together for 2 years, lived together for the last 8 months in this apartment we found in March. Things were good, or at least I thought they were. Then she announced she was taking a girls' trip to Miami for 5 days. Cool, I had no problem with that. She'd been stressed with work and deserved a break. But the way she told me about it felt weird. We were eating dinner and she just blurted it out. "I'm going to Miami next week with the girls, and I don't want you texting me the whole time asking what I'm doing." I was confused. I'd never been the clingy type. I barely texted her when she was at work. She kept going. "Actually, I'm just going to block you while I'm gone. It's easier that way. You don't get to know what happens on this trip, period. That's why I'm blocking you until I get back, so don't annoy me." I just sat there with my fork halfway to my mouth. Who says that to their boyfriend? She was staring at me, waiting for me to react or argue, but I just nodded and said okay. Her face looked disappointed, like she wanted to fight. The next morning, she left for the airport at 5 a.m. I pretended to be asleep, but watched her pack through half-closed eyes. She spent 20 minutes picking out bikinis and doing her makeup before the sun was even up. After she left, I checked her iPad that she forgot to take. We shared an Apple ID, so all her messages synced there. The group chat with her friends was normal at first, talking about flight times and hotel rooms, but then I saw a separate message thread with just her friend Kelly. Sarah had written, "I told him I'm blocking him. He didn't even care. That's how I know this is the right choice." Kelly replied, "Good for you. You deserve to have fun. Marcus is going to make this trip unforgettable." My stomach dropped. Marcus. I scrolled up and found weeks of messages I'd never seen. Sarah had been texting some guy named Marcus since April. He worked at the gym she joined, the one she suddenly started going to every single day. The messages weren't even trying to be subtle. Sarah told him she was unhappy in our relationship, that I was boring and didn't take her anywhere exciting. Marcus kept saying she deserved better and that he'd show her a real good time in Miami. Turns out this girls' trip wasn't just girls. Marcus had booked the same hotel and the same flights. They'd been planning this for over a month. I took screenshots of everything. Then I called my sister Amy, told her the whole situation. She drove over within an hour, took one look at the messages, and said, "We're getting you out of here today." We spent the next 4 days moving all my stuff out. Furniture I'd paid for, my clothes, my books, kitchen stuff my mom gave us, everything. My name wasn't on the lease. Sarah had signed it before we moved in together, so legally I could just leave. I even took the TV I bought last Christmas, left her with an empty living room. On the 5th day, right before Sarah's flight was supposed to land, Amy came back over. She brought her boyfriend Steve, who's built like a truck. We were loading the last of my boxes when we heard keys in the door. Sarah walked in wearing a sundress and sunglasses, looking tan and smiling. She expected to see me standing there ready to hear about her trip. Instead, she saw my sister sitting on the one chair we'd left behind drinking coffee. Amy looked up and said, "Oh, hey Sarah, how was Miami?" Sarah's face went completely white. She dropped her suitcase and looked around at the empty apartment. "Where's all the furniture? Where's Kyle?" Amy took another sip of her coffee. "Kyle's gone. He moved out 4 days ago. I'm just here to make sure he didn't forget anything." Sarah started panicking. "What do you mean he moved out? We live together." Amy pulled out her phone and started reading the messages out loud, the ones between Sarah and Marcus, about how boring I was, how she couldn't wait to spend 5 days with Marcus in Miami, how she was going to break up with me after the trip anyway. Sarah tried to grab the phone, but Steve stepped forward and she backed off. "That's private," Sarah said, her voice shaking. Amy laughed. "Not when it's on a shared Apple ID, genius. Kyle saw everything the morning you left." Sarah tried calling me, but I'd already blocked her number. She tried texting, but those were blocked too. Amy stood up and handed Sarah an envelope. "Kyle left this for you." Inside was my half of next month's rent and a note that said, "Hope Marcus was worth it." Amy and Steve walked out with me, left Sarah standing alone in an empty apartment with a suitcase full of bikinis and a phone full of messages she could never take back. I stayed with Amy for 2 weeks until I found a new place. Sarah tried reaching out through mutual friends, saying it was all a misunderstanding, that nothing happened with Marcus, but 3 people saw them together at the hotel pool, saw them holding hands at breakfast, saw them going into his room at night. She wanted to have her fun and come back to me waiting like nothing happened. Instead, she came back to an empty apartment and a reality check.